Hi, welcome back. I'm Helen Davis of One Step Forward, and I'm here with the second in a short series of videos about bone health based on my own experience over the last year or so, which has made me passionate about spreading the word about how it's never too early to start thinking about looking after our own bones as we for the rest of our lives, basically. So today I'm going to talk about bone density, what it is and why it matters. So bone density, or bone mineral density more correctly, is the term used to refer to the measurement of minerals, particularly but not only calcium, in our bone tissue. And it's the best indicator we currently have of the strength and the resistance to fractures of our bones. It's density and strength are not necessarily a direct correlation, but the only ways you could measure bone strength is by basically bending bones until they break, and for some reason that tends to be frowned upon. So our bodies naturally go through a process of breaking down old bone and building new bone throughout our lives. And when we're young, the building of the new bone happens more quickly than the breaking down of old bone. And as a result, the density, the mass, the weight of those bones increases. And then somewhere around late 20s, early 30s, we reach our peak bone mass, bone density. And after that, the process shifts a little. We do continue to build bone, but that building is taking place at a slower rate than the breaking down. And therefore, the breaking down is happening more and is starting to reduce the density. So that's the key thing that's going on. And if, as I suspect was the case for me, for example, if your personal bone density isn't at a level that one would hope by the time we reach that point of we go over the hill, then obviously the decline is going to be more significant, because if you're declining from a lower point, it's going to fall more quick, it's going to end up much lower. And a quick note here about the difference in gender. So this is the case for everybody, men and women. We all increase up to that same sort of age and then start declining. Men on average have a higher bone density at the peak, and therefore there is further to fall before they get to a dangerously low level. And they also don't go through this experience that women do around menopause, when our hormonal changes basically send the bone density dropping much more rapidly. So osteoporosis and other related issues are absolutely an issue for men as well, but they tend to affect them later and not to the same degree, or as not so many people are so many men as women are affected. So so how do we find out what's happening in our personal skeleton? So the current way of measuring bone density is the DEXA scan. That can be written either DXA or DEXA, they are the same thing. And a DEXA scan is a very low level of X-ray that measures the density of the bones at specific key points in the body. And it then compares our results with those of a young, healthy adult of the same gender. So as I've explained, it's inevitable that there would be some decline from that optimum point. But when the decline, or when the gap between the average for a young, healthy adult of the same gender and our results exceeds a certain point, we are then diagnosed as having osteoporosis. So a quick word here about osteopenia, which may be a term you've heard. It may even be something you've been told you have. Osteopenia is a term that was coined simply to describe the gap between normal or acceptable levels of bone density and osteoporosis. It was more a research term. It wasn't designed as being something that would come to be considered a disease or a health condition. It can, however, be a very useful wake-up call to know that it would be a good thing to start thinking about your bone health for the future. So where does all this take us? What are the potential results of osteoporosis? And this is where it does get scary. Please don't let this stress you. I am providing the information at this point. We will be talking about all the things that I have learned we can do to help support our own individual bone health. But untended, shall we say, severe osteoporosis can lead to a number of major health issues. So it can cause increased risk of fractures, even from minor falls or accidents. And of course, this is what happened to me, although I dispute the fact that I had a fall from standing, which is the official description, because I was moving at high speed at the time, albeit only under my own. I was walking fast. Anyway, that's beside the point. I completely accept that if my bones were as healthy as I would like them to have been, then I probably wouldn't have broken even one wrist, and certainly not two. So increased risk of fractures. Another thing which most people are aware of is loss of height. If you think about your mother, your grandmother, did they get shorter as they got older? It certainly happened in our family. And often accompanying that loss of height is that distinctive stooped position that we see in many elderly women and men, sometimes known as a dowager's hump. And both that height loss and that stooped posture are a result of individual vertebrae in the spine literally collapsing under the weight of the body. And not surprisingly, if people are fracturing bones easily, if they've got these vertebral collapses going on, that can lead for some people to chronic pain, discomfort. And even if that doesn't happen, because it doesn't happen for the pain is not an issue for everybody, it can have a dramatic impact on mobility, on our independence, and basically get in the way of us living the vibrant, active old age that we all hope to experience. And yeah, this process of getting older, the bones are starting down this track from our 30s, 40s and 50s. So it is never too early to start thinking about how to build proactively supporting your bone health into your daily routines, all the things you do to look after yourself. And that's what I'm on a mission to share, that message, based on my own experiences. As I say, I know there's a lot of scary information in this video, and I remember how I felt when I was first learning all these facts. But again, there is a lot we can do, and I'll be talking about that. In my next video, however, I'm going to focus just briefly on the risk factors. So how do you know if you fall into one of the categories that is more likely to have the potential for this to be an issue for you? So I'll be back with that next time. Thank you for being here. If you'd like to find out a bit about how one of the things that I'm doing to support my own bone health, there's a link in the comments to a 4-week course that I'm running, Bones for Life, an introduction to that program. And if you'd like to find out more, just comment, drop me a DM. I'd love to have a chat about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.